Hi, thanks for joining us today. This is Renee Morales, and I'm Tanya Morales with eXp Realty, and we're excited to have Evangeline Scott. She is a mortgage planner with Reliance Home Loans here in Folsom. So we're excited to just get together today and talk about what's going on. But first, Evangeline, do you want to give us a little background about yourself?
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, I do home loans. Super sexy. I know, right? I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I love it. So even the cycle that we're going through now, it's different. And at the same time, I've been through multiple cycles and changes in our industry. So I live here in Folsom, mother of two almost both teenage daughters.
Oh my God, wow. Crazy. Can't believe it.
Danica is going to be when they were little. Sunday. I know. I remember when your kids were little.
Yeah.
Very involved in our community and chamber and just love to do what I do.
And you were our recipient of the Community Service Award for 2021. And you have given back to our community for so many years. And you were recognized, and we're just so proud to be in business with you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
So, all right, we get started. So, yeah, I think the hot topic right now is what the heck with the rates, and what do you see happening?
Yes, it is. This is where I'm getting a new gray hair every day in regards to this market.
Yeah, so, I'm getting a great beard.
There you go. So as you know, I'm a total nerdy person, right? I deal with rates and tax returns and fun stuff all day long. So I also get at the start of every morning 6 a.m. Until 2 when the Fed closes every hour on the hour. I get a mortgage-backed security tax update. Also then get alerts if there's going to be if there's a shift or a swing in the movement. So I know, should we be locking, or is there a shift, something, that maybe we should be waiting and floating a rate? What are we doing constantly from a market standpoint? And I will tell you, the last 60 days has been some of the most volatile I've ever seen in my 20 plus career, as far as we could be up 48 basis points and then down, over 100 the next day, as we experienced in the last couple of weeks. And really, it all comes down to inflation, right? And so as the Fed continues to increase the Fed fund rate, which is not mortgage rates, as they continue to increase that to help hedge and lower inflation, until we really get to that point where inflation starts to decrease, then we'll start to see the adjustments of rates decreasing with that as well. So in general, right now, most rates are in the 6 range. Some clients, depending upon credit score or loan to value, I've seen a couple 7s pop up in rate sheets and scenarios. And there's also this talk, just based on where we're at economy. We also have to remember, it's not just the inflation number. We have those unknowns that can sway and shift a market, like nobody expected or knew the war in Ukraine, right? And that shifted things from a financial standpoint when we look at the market in general. So right now, it's slated that as we go into possibly around end of Q1 2023, that we're going to start to see that, based on the trajectory, the Fed should increase the Fed fund rate again in November. And then if we start to see that taper off, we'll see interest rates, their long-term 30-year fixed rates, follow. And the goal and the hope is now, per Barry Habib, somebody who I follow and is regularly on CNN, is saying that he's thinking that they will be in the 5s and possibly even below that towards the end of Q1 2023. Now, what that also means is, when you think about it, there's this huge talk. I'm sure you all, have come across the 2-1 buy down conversation, right? And typically, to do a 2-1 buy down, where if the rate was 6% right now, and we're going to do a 2-1 buy down, the first year it's going to be 4%, and then it'll be 5% the second year, and then it'll be 6% the third year. And that sounds super sexy, and it can work for certain people. If maybe, somebody just has their first gig, they are out of school, they're an attorney, and they're going to start off at a certain salary range, but they know in a year or 2 their income is going to be much higher. They'll be comfortable then with a higher payment. That might be a great strategy. But if you're using that seller credit for that, versus either long-term buying down the rate, or for the actual cost themselves for anybody purchasing right now in this season, it may be better for us to also consider, well, if the rates are going to then be coming back down, do we want to utilize those funds and then not have a real recapture rate period on it? All right. So Did that answer your question? I know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I know I did.
Yeah, I know.
And I guess it really comes down to the individual, and that's a case by case, which is where you excel.
For sure.
Sit down with people and figure out what is the best plan of action for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So hot question. I get asked this. I'm going to throw this on you.
Sure.
Is it a good time to buy?
I think it's a great time to buy always if it's the right property and it's right for you. I believe in that. If it's right for you and you're comfortable with the payment and you find the house that you love, nobody wants to do the, living with the regret aspect that they didn't get that particular property. I think knowing as well, again, if you're able to purchase something today and you're comfortable, the big advantages that we have, I did that fun little post the other day, the pros, and then the only con, is the current interest rate. You're not having and seeing in most scenarios multiple offers towards the point that you're going over asking price or having to give up your contingencies or waive appraisal and those types of things. So I'm seeing more people raising their hand back of like, hey, the craziness is over. I know the interest rates are higher. And if I'm still comfortable with the monthly payment and I can still get the house that I want and values have come down a little bit and may even, a little bit more, if it feels right, then I want to be able to do that. And I think that's where we need to be there to support people. I'm never going to be the type that's the naysayer or the, the BS, everything's rainbow and unicorns either. I think it has to be based on what do you really want? Tell me, and let me tell you how I can help you. Or, sometimes there are people I will say, hey, I really think you should wait and, do X, Y, and Z in regards to your savings, whatever the case may be.
Right. Yeah, and that's a great point because in the previous market, it was craziness with multiple offers and crazy over asking and probably giving up your firstborn. But at least now you have the time to look at other properties and do all your inspections and actually breathe through the process, whereas it was just so stressful before.
Yeah.
People couldn't get a house. I mean, you're writing 10, 15 offers and not getting something. Well, this is a market where you can actually buy something. And then, like you were saying, if rates come down next year, which I believe they will. I believe we'll see lower rates. We're going to see the high 2s, 3s. I don't think so. but hey, you might see 4s and refinance into that. And then, man, you got a great deal because you got a discount on a house this year and you're going to get cut that down to a better rate. And so, I think it's an opportune time to get into a property, which you couldn't before.
Why wait to be in that competitive situation again with other buyers?
Correct.
And I've heard you say this before is, I think you said, marry the house and date the rate.
That's right.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Well, and let's be 100, let's really, really think about it. How many clients do you know that you've sold them a house and they're going to actually keep it for that 30 years?
Right.
It's just not as common.
7-year average?
7-year average.
So odds are you're not going to be there for very long. I like that there's some options. There's some possibilities of if somebody really was stuck on the rate, they can buy it down and get that. So that was that 2-in-1 buy down. And if they did do something like that, 2-1 buy down, is there any prepay if they did?
No, actually, no. What's really cool about the 2-1 buy down is if they refinance before that time frame, whatever that differential was on the buy down actually goes back down, but goes back to the buyer. So that is a really cool advantage. One of the other things I'm seeing a lot, or that I've shifted with first time home buyers, before you would do a 3-stack, your first, your second, which was your down payment assistance, and your third for the closing costs. With CalHFA now, especially if somebody that maybe their credit score is a little bit lower, on some of the regular FHA pricing, the rate is higher than what CalHFA is. And so we could do a down payment assistance and still do the first FHA at a lower rate than what it would have been regular FHA, do the down payment assistance, not do the third, because that's what actually bumps up the interest rate. And then at that point, some of their funds to the closing costs, and I'm seeing seller concessions a lot, and you get the seller credit to cover the closing costs. So I've really seen that comfort level and that uptick back of the first time home buyers and being able to utilize programs that before the sellers just scoffed at.
Right. Right. Well, the rental market is really tight right
Yeah.
now. So it's just hard to get into a rental. It's probably still easier to get into a purchase.
Yeah.
And
Right.
why, if you're going to put money into something, why put it to your landlord? Put it to your house.
Yeah, for sure. And again, even to that 7-year kind of comment, right? Even if this is your first house, it's not your last house, even if you know you're not going to be there more than, 10 years, 5 years, whatever, you then still don't have the stress aspect of now the landlord wants to sell or they're continuing to increase the rents every year.
That's a big one because we get calls from people who go, yeah, my landlord's just gave me a 60-day notice and we've got to find another place and what are we going to do? And now you're under the gun and you've got to make serious concessions to get into something. Yeah, we own it. You own it. It's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, great point. That's a great point. I like that.
The other group that we work with too are investors that are looking for residential income, or they have projects where they're building ADUs on property. And
Very
so,
popular.
so that's become very popular as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the product like for investors these days in terms of borrowing for investment property?
It really just depends on the individual.
Yeah.
So in general, you're going to get your best rate option if you're doing 25% down versus 20% down. I can do 20% down. You're just going to get a better overall rate scenario, 25% down. There is the DSCR loan, which your interest rate is higher, but then it's 100% just based on what the rent is. Versus the mortgage payment and whatever ratio that is, affects what the interest rate is. So you can purchase without using, in essence, your income and your DTI, your debt to income ratios. I think what I'm most excited about, I feel like I've always expressed it. I think this is a really good opportunity going into this next year is for your investor clients and everybody's kids that maybe they're going off to college or they're going to buy their first property and they're going to be able to rent out some rooms. With Fannie Mae, we can use border income. You could buy a duplex and do FHA 3.5% down and use the rents to help offset the mortgage on the other side. So I'm really excited of really helping educate people of how can you start to build and grow your wealth in real estate.
Yes.
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Do you have any more questions?
I think you summed it up. I'm sure there's more later on. We can always have you back.
Of course.
Yeah, we should definitely do another check-in pretty
Yeah.
soon. It's hard to believe it's Q4, the beginning of Q4, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And we'll be in touch and we can do another check-in with you in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah, sounds good.
Evangeline, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, where do they get a hold of you?
You can call or text 916-496-0160. Again, 916-496-0160.
Awesome. And if you want, you can we'd love for you to call us as well. 916-220-7508. 916-220-7508. And we'd love to help you out and sit down and figure out what's the best move for you. And we always like Evangeline, we like to sit down and consult first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Evangeline.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. I know we'll be seeing you soon.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.